Hi, guys. I just wanted to talk to you about prayer today. It's something that is so easy to do. It's just talking to Jesus. It's not complicated, but I think we make it complicated. I think we make it too hard on ourselves. We hear the word prayer and we're like, oh, we need to schedule that into our days. And it is good to schedule prayer time with God for sure to make sure that we're talking to Him every day. But we think we have to do it a certain way, or that if we don't get it right, then that's a bad thing. And um, prayer is just such a simple and easy thing. Jesus prayed all of the time, and He wants us to do it too, because it's a way to talk to Him. How awesome that the God of the universe, the God who created everything, wants to talk to us and have one on one conversations with us every day. I think about like all of the supposedly important people in this world, how hard it is to get an audience with them, to get a chance to actually speak to them. If you wanted to meet with a diplomat or a government official or a CEO of a big company or a celebrity, like you'd have to try to make an appointment and you'd have to get to the right people to make that appointment. And a lot of them would never even grant us access to communicate with them. Even a lot of really great people just are too busy and they don't have time to talk to everyone who would like to talk to them. But God is always there, and He always wants to talk to us, and He is always available day or night, and it's just super easy and so beautiful. So I was reading Luke 18 today, and as I was reading, Jesus is actually telling us a lot about prayer. Now, Jesus talks to us about prayer a lot. He gives us the actual Lord's Prayer, or some people know it as the Our Father, as a model for prayer. But He also, in Luke 18, gives us 3 different stories in a row about prayer, and I think they're really important to note because I think it helps us frame what our prayer life should look like, and how simple it actually is. The first thing He says in Luke 18 verse 1, it actually says, one day Jesus told His disciples a story to show that they should always pray and never give up. How beautiful is that? God wants us to always pray and never give up. There was a judge in a certain city, He said, who neither feared God nor cared about people. A widow of that city came to Him repeatedly saying, give me justice in this dispute with my enemy. The judge ignored her for a while, but finally he said to himself, I don't fear God or care about people, but this woman is driving me crazy. I'm going to see that she gets justice because she is wearing me out with her constant requests. Jesus goes on to say, learn a lesson from this unjust judge. Even he rendered a decision in the end. So don't you think God will surely answer your prayers, give justice to His people who cry out to Him day and night? Would God put His people off? No, He will grant justice to them quickly. Jesus, again, He's saying this is a story to remind you to pray and never give up. Just like this woman, even a mean, evil judge who didn't care about justice, finally answered her request because she was consistent and persistent. So be consistent and persistent in our prayers. That's easy enough. That's not hard. Any of us can pray every day for things that matter to us, right? That's simple. We don't have to have the right words. It doesn't have to be at the right time. It doesn't have to be in the right place. We don't have to have done something special. We can just keep talking to God about the things that are important to us. The second story that He gives, Jesus tells a parable of 2 men who prayed. Jesus talks about 2 men who went into the temple to pray. One is a Pharisee, who would have been a righteous, religious ruler, someone who might have had a job at the church, or they had a job at the church. They were a super religious person. And the other person is a corrupt tax collector, which in these days we don't think of taxes as something corrupt, but at that time that was like the kind of sleaziest job there was, because they really took money from people, stole people from money for their own gain. So these 2 dudes go into the temple to pray, and the Pharisee is like, oh God, I am so good. I am so awesome. I am so glad that I'm not bad. He's not praying. He's not asking God for anything. He's not talking to God about anything. All he's doing is bragging on himself. The other guy, though, the corrupt tax collector, is actually praying. He says, God, like, I'm a sinner. Like, I need help. And it's this guy who God ends up having a great conversation with. Praying isn't about telling God how good we are. We don't have to prove anything to Him. He already knows everything about us. He loves us perfectly. He created us. He knows all of our good, our bad, our ugly, our triumphs, our problems. He just wants us to come humbly to him. So that second thing is just be honest with God. We don't have to show off or do anything great to gain an audience with God. He's just there waiting to talk to us, and he just wants us to be honest. So honest prayer. Also easy enough, right? The third thing is Jesus blesses the children. So all of a sudden, some parents are bringing their kids to Jesus, and the disciples are like, no, he's too busy. Like we talked about at the beginning, right? Like Jesus was getting pretty famous. A lot of people were coming to see him, and the disciples are trying to just kind of be protection for him. Like he doesn't have time to talk to everybody. But Jesus is like, no, yes, actually, I do have time to talk to everybody because I love everybody and everybody is important to me, and people are actually the work that I've come to do is loving people. So he says, let the kids come to me. He's like, if you want to really get in on the kingdom of heaven, you have to be like one of these kids. So I think it's so interesting that this is right after these two instances of Jesus is telling us how to pray, because he tells us these kids, that's how you get into the kingdom of heaven, is act like them. So that means Jesus just wants us to come as we are. Kids don't like get all dressed up to come talk to somebody. I remember how my kids would get dressed for preschool sometimes with mismatched tops and bottoms, but that's what they wanted to wear that day. Or one of my kids wanted to wear Spider-Man pajamas out in public all the time, and that made him happy. So great, that's what he wore. So Jesus is saying, don't worry about what you wear. Don't worry about what you say. I think of kids just blurting things out without thinking about it and being honest. Kids are like, I have a skinned knee. Okay, great. Jesus wants to know if your body hurts. Tell him. Kids are like, this kid was mean to me. Jesus wants to know if someone was mean to you, or if your heart hurts, or if your feelings are hurt. He wants to know, and he wants to help you resolve it. And little kids are just like, I'm so mad. And you can go to Jesus like that too. You don't have to have eloquent words, or even if you know you're wrong, but you feel mad, you can bring that to him and just say, I feel so mad. And he wants to talk to you about it, and he wants to calm you down and bring you peace and give you ways to help resolve your problems. So I love these three stories in Luke 18, showing us how simple prayer really is. One, Jesus tells us to be persistent. He specifically says we should always pray and never give up praying. Cool. That's so easy. Pray all the time. Pray in your car, pray in your walk, pray in your run, pray while you do your dishes, while you fold your laundry, while you cook dinner, while you change the oil in your car, whatever it is, you can be praying. God's always there waiting to hear you. Simple, easy, right? Second, be humble. Just be yourself. Come as you are. Also easy. You can come with whatever you're wearing, whatever mood you're in, whatever you've done or haven't done. Jesus is ready and excited to talk to you just for exactly who you are. And third, just be like a kid. Be honest. Be yourself. You don't have to have the right pretenses or the right clothes or the right words. And if you blurt something out, it's cool. I think this is so beautiful. We're in a time when there's a lot of things we can be praying about. The election is next week, and we can be praying for unity for our country. We can be praying for good leadership and good laws that care for God's children. No matter what side of the coin you sit on, or what state you live in, or what things are on your specific ballot, you can just ask God for his care and protection over our country and over his people. During this pandemic, you can be praying for healing and for best ways to know how to handle it, for the government to handle it, for you personally to handle it. I feel like so many situations have come up in our family, even like, should we see this person? Should we get tested before we do this? Should we stay home? Is this environment safe? Is that, too many people in a place? Are we okay? There's all these questions, but we can always talk to God about them. He wants to talk to us about everything. And we all have personal things too, right? Those are big issues we can be praying about persistently every day, for unity, for our country, for, a outcome of the election that helps God's people, for a solution to the pandemic that helps God's people, but also the prayers of your heart, your personal issues, the things on your mind, your day-to-day struggles. God wants to hear them. And he says it's so simple. He says, pray persistently. Just come to me all the time. He says, be humble. Just be yourself. And he says, be like a kid. Know that there's no requirements here. I love all of you. You're my children, and I just want to talk to you. I can't think of a time that one of my kids has wanted to talk to me that I haven't wanted to hear what they've had to say. If I hear one of them calling, I'm always like, yes, what? And if I'm in the middle of something, like if I'm in the middle of a phone call for work, or if I'm in the middle of doing something for somebody else, half of me is always like, what does that kid want? When can I help them? What can I do? And as soon as I'm done finishing that thing, I want to talk to my kid. That's Jesus, but he doesn't even have to wait because he's God. He can multitask like no other. So he's always willing and waiting to talk to you. Prayer. It's simple. It's not hard. You don't have to put it off. You can pray now. I hope that you do. Talk to Jesus today. He's there waiting for you, and he loves you.